All right, howdy, Ags. We got a lot to talk about. It's been a while. I'm going to update you on the overall sports picture in Aggieland. We're going to talk a little bit of recruiting, and we got a lot to break down with the spring game having been played this last Saturday. So looks like I got about at least 30 minutes worth of rye. So let's do this. All right, so let's just jump into the spring game. This is what everybody's using to project and to kind of get their bearings on what they think positions look like. And I want to go through these position by position, really individual by individual. So we have a lot to talk about. I want to give you my opinion. This is not something that's correct, but it's just kind of what I saw. So I was at the game on Saturday, rewatched it. I think it's been at least 3 times. Shout out to Woodlands Aggie. You can go see that over on YouTube anytime. Does a great job over there. So my first overall feeling that I got watching this game was that it felt like a game. It was something I don't think I've seen out of a game in a while. It's just not even, the first 3 years of Jimbo's spring games even didn't feel quite like a game. It felt closer to it than it did under Sumlin, but not quite there. This felt like a game. And that to me starts off giving me good vibes. The other big storyline probably going on for me was not so much the win, but taking into account that and the dynamic that it set on offense. So offense, let's go ahead and start off there. Everybody's going to be talking about the quarterback position. So I recently read that last year we were 113th in the nation in passing efficiency. So that's not just the quarterback, that's not just the wide receiver. That's efficiency. It's kind of a misnomer, but you do kind of get the idea. Out of all the teams in college football, we ranked 113th, and we still went 8-4. That sounds a bit encouraging to me. I'm trying not to drink that Kool-Aid right now, but it sounds a bit encouraging. 8-4 off of 113 ranking that overall rates our offense, to me, is something that we have. It's like a diamond in the rough. Bettering that by half may just take this team to a 10-2. So it's important that we get this quarterback decision correct, and who is going to be that person. So let me give you my effects on what I saw. Now we had three people that we saw in large part. We have a new guy in Connor Wiegman. He's a freshman, just recruited this guy. He came in the fall. He's actually supposed to be in high school, but these guys are coming in earlier and earlier. We also have Haynes King, who played the spring game last year, competed against Calzada, won the position. Supposed to be a tight race. Came into the season, played Kent State, looked less than crisp against Kent State, and then gets hurt against Colorado the following game. Calzada takes over, takes us the rest of the way, and here we are. We play LSU the last game of the season and get beat on a 30-40 yard pass for 6 by Max Johnson. He is now transferred to A&M, and he is on our roster. So we are really going to be deciding which one of these guys is going to manage our offense, is going to get the ball to receivers, is going to cut down mistakes, is going to be able to use their legs, and they can all three use their legs. And really, not turn the ball over. So initial impressions on Connor. Connor looks stellar, relatively speaking. I think we saw some things out of him that are going to be phenomenal moving forward. He didn't really make any major mistakes, and that's huge out of a freshman. I don't think he's quite there yet, so I'm in large part going to take him and just kind of set him to the side. I feel so good, though, thinking about him being our third string at this point. I don't think our quarterback room's been nearly this healthy. I really don't know the last time. maybe when Kyle Allen and Kyler Murray were around, but there was too much animosity going on there, I think, and too much in the locker room brewing. So this to me feels a lot better. Now we're going to have to focus in on Haynes King and Max Johnson. So initial impressions for both, and let me put a little context on this too. Yes, there's a lot of wind going on. You did not also have full offenses. There's no way to do that if you're going to split teams up. What it looked like to me was that Max played with the number one offense, and he played against the number one defense. Sorry, flip that. I think I've got that backwards. I'm gonna have to go back and check my list. I've done this so many times. It seems like I keep getting it backwards and backwards and backwards, and you just never can quite figure out which way these guys played. So essentially, I think I did have it backwards. Max played on the number two offense against the number two defense. So there's something to be had there. Haynes King played with the number one offense against the number one defense. Okay, take that. Let's take a drink. Let's calm. Okay, so there's some context. Now, on that team, that number one offense, you don't have Bryce Foster hiking it. I believe you had Wyckoff. What you do have is you do have Layden Robinson at right guard, and you do have Fothery at right tackle. Okay. We ended up, I believe, also playing Trey Zune and Moko at the left tackle and right guard spot. Might have one of these names off here and there. But for all intents and purposes, that's where it was. We also had what looked like to be Evan Stewart on the same team. And so what we have, we didn't have a chain running, but we had Amari Daniels and Ernest Crownover as the top two backs. They did work in Ananias a bit. So it looked like Haynes worked with the ones against the ones, and Max worked with the twos against the twos. So what does that mean? That means, frankly, it's difficult to even deal with. Max looked like he had quite a bit of pressure. So if I'm going off of first impressions on this, Max looked really comfortable in the pocket. I don't think I've seen somebody that comfortable. I'm really not even going to name a name. You can't even say Johnny, because Johnny was so quick to get out of the pocket and make big plays with his feet. Max is not that type of quarterback. His movement flow actually kind of reminds me a bit of a Joe Burrow type. Ironically, coming from LSU. He senses pressure really well. He steps up really well. He checks down really well, from what I can tell, from what I saw. Going back and rewatching him, I think that was confirmed. Maybe the accuracy is probably the biggest knock for him. If Haynes King's going to do anything, we thought that he was going to be able to run better than Max, but perhaps he might want to or be able to take him in the accuracy category, the long ball. We really want to focus getting the ball downfield. That's going to be a major deal. Who can get that ball downfield accurately is probably going to be a step ahead of the other. Okay, so Max surprisingly ran really, really well. Haynes King is probably quicker. Max may have a little bit more top end, but he has got a nice little fake that is, it's a good move. It really is. And he's got defenders missing. It gets him an extra 5-10 yards, sometimes enough for big runs, and he had quite a few. Again, contextually speaking, who we're going against here, but you get the idea. So what this looks like so far to me and I'm going to use this mainly for projections. I'm not going to say, hey, here's who I think is going to start in the fall. I don't want to do that. I just want to think after going off of this, and again, this is just one game. So, I mean, all the practices, there's a lot more information that can be had there. And with the win, you probably want to dial back your hot takes with that. But if I'm going with somebody currently, I'm thinking who's going to get the ball out, who's going to distribute it the best. And I'd probably put Max with a head past Haynes King. We're going to see more in the fall. I'm not landing on that as my final pick for the fall and who's going to be our starter or anything. But right now, I just can't understate how encouraged I am with how this quarterback room is looking for A&M. So it's going to be extremely important that we find somebody and we get the right person in there for us to take the next step. Whoever that is, I'm plenty happy with. Both these guys are looking really great. Maybe Weigman can surprise us, but Jimbo's offense is pretty difficult to come by, and Weigman's, he just doesn't have that leg up. Now Max is coming in from LSU, so he doesn't have that experience either, but he does have experience. He's got a full season's worth of experience. There's going to be a lot said to that. Maybe that's where the comfortability comes in. He's a little heavier as well. So maybe durability is going to play into that as even more so. It's tough to say. I mean, we saw the injury, and it was difficult to get past the injury. But Haynes King's going to have to show us that he can be more accurate. Going off the Kent State game last year, that the accuracy it wasn't quite there. It was a good game, but it wasn't quite there. So if we pick up where that left off, we're going to have a really, really tough time probably going with him. He's got the talent, he's got everything he needs, and I'm rooting for the guy. His legs are phenomenal, and he had quite a few nice runs himself. So whatever we're going to do there, it's got to be a fantastic decision. Now, big question mark there, and we got a lot of question marks all over the field. The next place I want to get to, maybe a few less question marks, at least in combination. We'll talk about two position groups, running back and offensive line. A chain, no controversy there. He's our number one. Who's going to be our number two? That's going to be difficult to figure out. And I'm wondering a lot of different things. Okay, so first off, LJ is hurt. That's setting him back. That probably automatically elevates Amari Daniels ahead of him. We have Ernest Crownover, who is a bit of a bigger back. I think Amari is sitting somewhere around the 205 mark. Ernest is somewhere in the 220 mark. A chain has been 185-ish. So what are we going to decide to do with this when we had Spiller, who is somewhere in the 220 mark as well? We don't have that kind of back right now. Can a chain run like that? I'm not sure. I'm not in those practices. I don't know what they're going to feel like they're comfortable with. So as far as the heavy hitter, it seems like what we've got is Ernest Crownover. So is he going to take the number two? Usually that back is typically in the number one spot, and you have your change of pace back, your lighter back as the third down back. That can become problematic too, because you're going to need somebody to pick up blocks. And so they've got a lot of dynamics going on here. Now, what I'll say is this. A lot like the QB room, it's quite encouraging, except for my one question mark, but it's quite encouraging that we have 3-4 backs that are extremely good, very serviceable, and can step up and do some things. Shout out to TJ rushing. I think he's doing a really, really good job. You watch Amari Daniels run and Crownover's just been like a guy. It's like, we're not even sure this guy, he might be a lifetime backup, but he looks like he wants to play. So somebody's doing something with him to develop him, and they got this guy where he wants to run, and he can come in and he can do the job. I feel very confident of it. They are working very well with the offensive line. The offensive line is, again, more question mark than running back, at least personnel-wise, maybe not fit-wise. I think fit-wise we're going to have good fits either way, but personnel, you've got a few question marks there. We got to replace Kenyon Green at left guard, Jameer Johnson at left tackle. The right side and middle of the line look like they're set in stone. We're going to have Bryce Foster center, Layden Robinson right guard, and then Fothery right tackle. But you got to feel good about this group with all the other guys that played and that seem to be stepping up. We talked about Aggie in our spring game preview. He was out. So that is what it is. I think I may have failed to mention early on, I'm not pulling punches in this, so I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything. We don't get anywhere with that. But if I'm being honest, I'm wondering, okay, well, we're out for whatever the reason. LJ's out. He's got a pulled hamstring. Got a hamstring going on. It's going to set you back. It's not a negative thing on the person, but it's something. And he's not getting the reps. Matthew Wyckoff is getting the reps. Moko is getting the reps. Trey Zune's getting the reps. Trainer's getting the reps. What are we going to do with that? I mean, these guys are getting valuable playing time. You can see the comfortability when it comes to Max Johnson in the pocket because of the experience. These guys are going to have experience. And they're hungry. Which ones are coming to play? It looks like Moko's coming to play. And I just want to read you off some of these insane numbers that we've got going on with this. It's really quite amazing. So you've got Moko at the left guard playing on the first team this go around, and then left tackle. It looked like we had Trey Zune. And I believe for this team, since Foster was out, we had Matthew Wyckoff at center. I may have those a little bit mixed up. But that group right there that's a large group. That's a very large group. So you're looking at Moko is 340 pounds. Fothery is I think he's somewhere in the 320 range, 325 range. Let's look and find out. We want to make sure we get all these just right, because this is going to be a big deal. The size that we've got going on with these guys is just it really kind of defies any of the weight we've been able to put up there in front. We've been talking about being SEC ready for the last decade. I think we're SEC ready based off of these. So Fothery 320, Matthew Wyckoff potential starter 330. Let's see, we've got, like I said, Moko 340, Layden Robinson 325, Bryce Foster in the middle 325, Trey Zune 315. We're looking to probably average minimum 320 on the line. That's a lot of man. That's a lot of man going on right there. So if I'm going to project who these folks are going to be, I said I've got center, right guard, and right tackle set. If you disagree, you let me know in the comments. So that leaves left guard and left tackle. My bet here is going to be that we have Moko at left guard and we get Trey Zune at left tackle. I think Aggie is on the outside looking in, but I'm extremely encouraged by the depth that we have between him, Wyckoff, and Trainer. All guys that look ready. Trainer's got a lot of experience as well. And this may be the best shape that we've been in offensive line-wise. And this is really not even quite a fair comparison, but back when we had Jokel and Matthews, I mean, these were two just phenomenal tackles. And I don't know if we've got people that are going to be quite that good, but we daggum sure have got a great possibility for that to be the case. But it's the depth that we've got. We've got depth all around because of the last 3 years of recruiting. Not a number one class just this last year. We've got a 6, an 8, and a 3. So we've packed in the talent. We're somewhere in the 70% range blue chip recruit ratio. So we've got a lot of depth that we have not had since we entered the SEC. This is going to be our best year of depth, and it's only getting better. Now, wide receiver. The news of the day, well, right after the spring game, Chapman is transferring. So this is somewhat a blow, somewhat not a blow. The storyline for him is that he's been injured. Man, that guy has got some big plays at A&M. The catches against Florida, and he had a couple of big ones last year as well. There'll be people that are talking about that for a long time to come, but the story was injury, and he just couldn't quite stay healthy. And that allowed other people to come in and solidify themselves. This is why I think the other players holding out are really going to be working from the outside in. The highlight for the wide receivers was absolutely Evan Stewart. He looks every bit the part. I've heard he's a prima donna, but it's pretty evident that however many followers he wants to get on Instagram and all this other stuff that he likes to do, he's here to work. He's here to play football, and he wants to make a difference. He's going to get the ball a lot. This is going to be one of our key downfield threats. We needed to address it. We went out and recruited somebody, and we're going to address it. Now, when we get to the fall and the wind's not blowing 30 miles an hour, we'll see exactly more about what we can do there. Somebody's going to have to get him the ball, get him to him in the right spot so he can go up and get it. But he's extremely talented. We have a number one wide receiver right there. This is a guy we've been waiting on. We'll see exactly how much he can do when we get started. Now, you already know Demas is out. Demas made some bad choices. He's gone. So we've exited him. We have a pretty deep wide receiving room. You could make a case that there's a lot of quality there. And I sigh. You heard the sigh. Here's the thing, guys. It's what we're looking at is a lot of drops. We have an inordinate amount of drops, and I'm not sure what else to say about it. It looks like our top three guys at this point are Evan Stewart, Anais, and then maybe a combination between Moose, Muhammad, and Yulkeith Brown, perhaps. I think we're going to see one of those two in large part. I thought Preston might make his way there, but he had probably the most drops out of anybody, the entire time. So that's what are you going to do with these things? I mean, this is probably where our passing efficiency had a problem. There was probably only one pass to Anais. It was kind of in the flat. He was wide open, threw it over. I mean, couldn't have hit him in a better spot, drops it. Of course, one pass doesn't, make an overall statement about a player. But the truth is we had quite a few problems with that last year. Him in particular. Weidemeyer had the same problem. How many times have you seen, Weidemeyer punching the ground last year? There's something going on. Damian Craig is over wide receivers, and I'm wondering where we're going here. I did not like what we saw last year. There's plays where I'm seeing Anais and Weidemeyer looking it over each other like this, whose block was that? These are things that can happen. These are easy things. These are film room things. There should be a fire under Anias's butt this year. He's going into what should be his final year before draft, and so if he wants to be a draft guy, this is his year. So I hope that's the motivation factor that he needs, because we need to see it. We're going to have solid play from those guys if we're going to make these spots. So who else are we looking at? It's like I said, we have okay, so after Anais being number 2, we have Moose Muhammad. Like I said, we had Yulkeith Brown, Jalen Preston. Devin Price got quite a bit of playing time, although it didn't seem like it amounted to much. That his group was going against the number one defense in large part, so there's something to be said for there. We have Chase Lane coming back, got hurt last year and was out most of the season. Hezekiah Jones is still with us. So we have a, kind of a who's who. We have some guys, we've got some good role players. Who wants to take it to the next level is going to be interesting. We have Chris Marshall coming in this summer, and the impact that he wants to make really could set the tone of what this wide receiver room is going to be. I'd really like to see Moose and Yulkeith get some reps, but hey, Marshall looks the part. So we're going to see who wants to play. That's plain and simple. We'll see what Damian Craig wants to put out there and what his product's going to be, because I need to see a product. So that's offense. Right? Biggest question mark on offense is what's the wide receiver room going to look like, and then who's going to be the plug and plays that we're going to have for offensive line, and then what's the number 2 running back going to look like, and finally, who are we picking for quarterback? Okay, so that's our offensive side of the ball. Defensive side of the ball. Wow, what a conversation this is. Miles Jones is back, and right off the bat, we have a PI on Miles. So did we pick up where we left off? We'll see. Coverage looks good. For Miles. I think we had quite a few batted balls. It's great to see. He's on top of the guy. Sometimes literally. I'm laughing with you there, bud. But PI is going to be something that we've got to eliminate. We've got a bunch of those in the last couple of years. He's a talented guy. He's big. He's tall. He's lengthy. He could be a real difference maker. Question is, if he's going to play, where is he going to play? Is he going to play in Tyreek Chappell's spot? I don't think so. I mean, Tyreek's out. He's injured. It leaves a possibility for somebody to come in. I'm not sure exactly what happened. Jalen Jones is also out. I think he had shoulder surgery. And I think maybe the rumor is that he played with that injury quite a bit last year, and maybe that's the cause for some of the lackluster coverage that we saw. He gave up the touchdown pass that won LSU the game. So he's out. You got 2 possible opportunities for starters there. But I think once Tyreek Chappell gets healthy, he'll reclaim the spot. Well, we'll see. Jalen's spot, I think it's open. So maybe Miles wants to take that. Maybe Denver Harris wants to take that. Maybe that's what we want to happen. Maybe Denver wants it. Yeah, he played in the game. He looks serviceable. Got some room to grow, probably looks like. But Tyreek grew pretty quick. Got a hungry guy, talented guy. Somebody that wants to go make a name. You got your recipe for success right there. So we definitely got some guys that probably going to be there and wanting to play. I think we're going to be able to figure something out there. Safety, we got to replace Leon O'Neal. Damani Richardson, that's going to be a staple. That's a no-brainer there. Who are we going to be putting in that other safety spot? I think I already mentioned this before, and I think it helps kind of confirm where I'm at with this. We have Deuce Harmon. He's been out for the spring as well. I'm not sure what's going on there, but he's out. It's injury related somehow, so like not discipline. But Bryce Anderson looks like he wants to play. He looks very much like he wants to play, and I'll be happy to have him play. He looks physical, and he looks like he's got a step on what upgrade from what Leon was doing. And Leon was really good at playing in the box, coming down, and that took its toll. Sometimes we're letting guys get by, especially when Jalen's not got tight coverage and we're crashing, on the run. We give up some big plays, and then when we are dropping back into coverage, it's not necessarily the best coverage. I think Bryce Anderson's got that covered. I think he will be an upgrade at that position, so long as he puts in the work to identify the runs and knows when and where he needs to be. That's got to be over half of this position, is knowing when and where to be, identifying where you're supposed to go, what your coverage is, and how you're supposed to react. He's going to have the skills, and he's clearly got the skills. So looking promising, I would say, in the safety position too, and I really can't wait to see how the rest of the secondary fills out in the cornerback spot. My money's on Tyreek Chappell, and kind of hoping to be pleasantly surprised if somebody steps up over on the other cornerback spot. If we get that, I think we got a really good chance to have a lockdown defense. So next up, linebackers, and we have a staple there, Adrian Cooper. He's going to be a starter. Looks fantastic, looks fast, looks quick. He's twitchy. He's got all the stuff where he's going to drop into coverage. He's about 220 pounds. He's not overly big, but he plays physical, which is fantastic. But he can cover. So we've got a great, excellent linebacker in him. So he's probably playing a little bit more on the outside. We're trying to figure out who's going to play in the middle. So we've got an Andre White, we've got a Chris Russell, and we've got a surprise out of the spring game, I would say, which is Terrian Lee. And he's coming in at about 230 pounds, which is nice SEC size for a linebacker. He looks like he is extremely motivated. He looks like he knows what he needs to do to get some playing time. And if I'm sitting over here and I'm Chris Russell, or if I'm Andre White, I'm thinking like, okay, this guy wants to take my spot. If I think I've got this spot, which I hope no one thinks they've got that spot, but if they do, they need to look out for Terrian Lee. Is he really going to end up playing? I don't know. That's maybe a toss-up. Maybe we're looking at one more year. Otherwise, I think the favorite's probably Andre White, and he looks good. That guy looks like an SEC linebacker. Let's see what he's doing these days. Because when I saw him on the field, he looked like somebody that I don't think I've seen since in 2012, Stewart. You remember Stewart? And so Andre's coming in at about 230 pounds. Adrian Cooper, like I said, is 220. Chris Russell, 235. Terrian Lee is 230 as well, like I was saying. So we have some really good size there. And this is going to be about who is going to be in the right hole, who is going to close off the edge, and that's it's pretty plain and simple, to be honest. We had the most trouble when we weren't in the right fits last year. So nowhere to be. I think that's probably what's Adrian's strength, because he's not the biggest guy, but when he puts himself in position, he makes a play easy. We got the talent of the guys, so it's this position group battle is probably going to be won in the film room. So we'll see who's going to be studying more. Either way, we got a good selection of guys. Last year, we kind of knew who it was going to be, right? It was most likely going to be Adrian Cooper, but we knew it was going to be Hansford, and before that, it was Buddy Johnson or nobody. Now we've got a selection of at least 2 or 3 guys. So we've got to feel really good about that. And moving on, this is the biggest frustration for me, but also the most exciting at the same time, which is the defensive line. We have no idea exactly who's going to be where. I guess save McKinley Jackson, somewhere on the right nose tackle. Who else is solidified there? I don't know anybody that's solidified. We had Isaiah Rakes playing a lot last year, but does he have a spot sewn up? I don't think so. I really don't think so. We've got a lot of guys that are going to be coming in here. It's honestly, it's remarkable. It is just remarkable. I'm just going to name off a few of the guys that we ended up taking in this last class. this wise. Walter Nolan right off the bat. Dindy. Nolan's not in yet. He's not on campus yet. Dindy is. He's had an injury, so is he going to be ready or is he not going to be ready? It's tough to say. One guy that showed out, he's going to play one way or another, is Anthony Lucas. And the thing of it is all these guys looked like they were ready to play. I was really surprised at his size. I mean, he's listed at 6'4.5", 275. That is excellent size for a defensive end. That's a Myles Garrett type size. And he looked like a terror. We have a lot of good options on this defensive line. So don't forget we have Shamar Stewart coming in. We just signed Labius Overton recently. So he's a late commitment, a reclassification from 23 to 22. So we ended up with 8 defensive linemen in this class. Anai White, Malik Silla, Jaden Scarlett, and as I said earlier, Walter Nolan and Dindy. So, but don't forget now also who we already have on the roster. So we have a 5-star in Shamar Turner. We have Fidel Diggs, Jalzion Harris. We also have Toon Meese, and he looks every bit of the part as well. I played really well on Saturday, got a lot of pressure, and I believe from technically he was on the first team defense, so that's really encouraging. A guy I did not think had nearly the size that he did was probably my biggest surprise size-wise was Albert Regis. He's 300 and like he says he's 305. I don't believe it for a second. He looks every bit of 315. The guy is built, as the saying goes, like a brick shit house. I mean, he's just absolutely huge. Okay, so let's go. How could this play out? Okay, it could play out like this. It could play out Fidel Diggs on the left edge, Shamar Turner on the left guard, McKinley Jackson right guard, and it could play out Toon Meese on the right edge. Now, we could almost go through and refill all that again with new players. So maybe Anthony Lucas, Walter Nolan, right guard, Isaiah Rakes, left guard, and probably somebody like I don't know. I don't know that I saw Elijah Judy, but I think maybe a Donnell Harris, Jazion Harris, one of those guys probably right through there, and somebody like Shamar Stewart coming in, Anai White. There's plenty of guys that actually could end up filling out this exact same thing. We have a lot of depth, huge amount of depth on the defensive line. The question is just going to be, who is it going to be? Who are going to be the guys who are going to play their fits correctly as well, who are going to plug those holes, who are not going to get too far outside, and they're going to kind of play their role. Each one of them looks extremely physical, looks able to get off tackles, and I think this is just going to be a terror of a defensive line once it gets solidified. If I'm worried about something on this defensive line, I'm worried about them having a year like what our offensive line had last year, whereas we can't quite get it solidified. For us to have, I think, success this year, we're going to need to stop the run. Do we have the size to be able to stop the run? I think we do, but it's still going to come down to play with these guys and how well are they going to fill their roles that they're supposed to play. So, but are we going to mix and match? What are we going to do? Are we going to have these guys figured out by 2 weeks before the first game, and Then we're going to go play Sam Houston State, and what are we going to see? We get into that Sam Houston State game and we're getting run on. We're probably going to end up having some problems. And we had a few of those problems on the defensive line this last year, but they really solidified as Clemens came back, McKinley Jackson came back, and they kind of came into their own there. So we had quite a bit more success afterwards, but that offensive line with the who was going to be here, who was going to be there, really lingered and hurt us quite a lot. We could have that same problem here. So that's my biggest worry there. The talent is going to be phenomenal, though. Once we figure it out, it's going to be lights out. Lights out. So, all right. So who's kicking off? Caden Davis, I believe, is kicking off. He's also probably doing, well, we'll see. Nick's going to be punting, place kicking, probably Caden Davis. He looked great, honestly. So he's got the leg. It's extremely strong. He kicked those into the wind. He did the same thing last year at the spring game. So we're looking really solid there. I do not think I've missed anything. Final big surprise probably from the spring game, and I'm wondering if Choate's going to get dethroned from the 12th man jersey, as he wore it proud though. But Avery Hughes looks like the part. 3 interceptions on the day. Man wants to play some ball, and he is a ball hawk. So is he going to make a run for this? I think he probably is, but we're going to see. So that's our spring game. That's the way I see it right now. If you see it any differently, let me know. My final takeaway is figure out the quarterback, and let's get that wide receiver room opened up. I think that's where we have the most question mark with development. I think everywhere else we've got great development. I think Daryl Dickey's doing a great job with quarterbacks. Adazio's doing a great job on the offensive line. Terry Price and Elijah Robinson on the defensive line. So yeah. I think I did miss a spot, didn't I? Oh, I almost missed it. Can't believe I almost missed it. Tight end. We didn't talk about tight end at all. Why are y'all letting me get away without talking tight end? It's y'all's fault, right? No, I forgot. So Max Johnson. Jake Johnson was not playing. We had Garza playing, and we had, who was our other guy we had playing? I think Blake Smith. Blake Smith called a touchdown pass. Garza looked fairly serviceable as well. We're going to have Donovan coming in the summer, Donovan Green. So between these 4 guys, and I think we've got one more. Is it the Swedish guy, Ostrom, I think. So one of these guys is, let me go check and make sure. I don't want to get that one wrong. That's always something. Trying to pride myself of getting these names right, because there's so many guys. They're everywhere. So we got, like I said, we got Jake that's already on campus. And who else do we have? Yeah, Ostrom. That was right. This is Theodore. So those 3 guys are who we took in. One of them is going to have the best combination of blocking and catching. We had a catching issue last year. We had a blocking issue last year. We didn't have that same issue the year before, and we're starting to see that. Watermeyer's dropping a little bit, maybe in his draft stock. So we see what the toll that it had on us. I don't know if I'm going to put my money on just yet. I mean, we got a bunch of guys that I want to see play in Jake and Donovan before I'm going to say anything about Blake or Garza. So fall's a better place to give a projection on that. I don't know enough about Jake and Donovan at this point to even know, but we didn't open up the playbook enough either for the other 2. So we'll see. So that's the spring game. Extremely encouraging. And with that, we are opening up, and you've probably seen our recruiting recently. We've just added a few folks, and the train keeps rolling. People are wondering, are we done yet? No, we just picked up Bravion Rogers and Javon Thomas, and the question now is starting to become like, okay, does Sark need to, put in a request for Jimbo to let him, have a recruit, or what's the deal going to be here? Otherwise, Jimbo's just kind of, picking and choosing exactly who he wants. It's going to have to sign a waiver and release somebody if he doesn't want them, because you're just kind of locking down Texas. So this is getting a little bit ridiculous, and you should check out Twitter. I mean, it's a fantastic place sometimes, and the meltdown is just crazy. So, we can talk about all those every day, all day, because it's just something that is really just a beauty to behold with how well this recruiting continues to keep on. Can we do better than last year? I'm not going to put it past us, and we've got a lot rolling so far. This class just moved into the top 10. We've got, we picked up a punter as well this last week. Best in the country is my understanding, right? And so otherwise we've got 4 out of 5 guys are blue chip recruits. So probably going to be adding a few more. So look for those coming here in the near future. Baseball. Let's get to some other places. Baseball beat number 10 Georgia tonight. That's the third top 10 win on the season. We beat Texas. You saw that one, 12-9. Went to their place and took that W and handed that L. And then we also got Texas State, who's undercover good team this year. Now, of course, beating number 10 is not really that big a deal. We're playing series here, so we need to get at least one more from Georgia to make this something. But again, just want to kind of keep you updated. Talked about softball last time. Softball is 24-14 and 3-9 in conference. Okay, so you know where I stand with that. Let's see, men's golf. They won the Aggie Invitational. I believe it was this last weekend. We're going into SEC championship play. And we'll see how the guys want to do. Women's is looking basically the same situation at this moment too. So both have had some moderate success. So want to see, hopefully, make a splash in the tournament. If that's even what you call it. Do you call it a tournament when it's I don't know, doing some match play and whatnot? But yeah, golf teams are reasonably well. Men's tennis is 21-10 overall, 7-3 in conference. Hey, not bad. I mean, so out of 14 teams, we've beat 7, and we got 4 to go. Could be worse. These guys have maybe done better in the past, but this is not a big slide. So, you have some cyclical stuff, and this seems to probably be right into it. But, hey, we'll see where they want to go with it. Now, they have, big matchups coming up with number 9 SC and number 3 Florida. So what they want to, the rest of the season, what that's going to end up, looks like it's going to have to go through those two teams and see whether or not they can do a little bit more. 9-3 sounds a lot better than 7-3, but it's a tough task going up against those quality teams. Women's tennis, though, 25-1 overall. I believe 11-0 in conference, so they're just dominating. That's you want to go watch something, go watch them. That's fun play. I mean, they are intense. Great job, ladies. Equestrian, my undercover love here. They are 13-4 overall. They just took a big head-to-head over number 6 Baylor, and so I think they've got SMU, the number 7 team, starting tomorrow. So we're going to see what they want to do, and that's something that I love to follow the live tweets on, and you should too. So anyways, that's around sports around Aggieland. That's recruiting. That's spring game. We didn't quite get through all of this, so that's okay. I'll have to go finish it after this. So, in the meantime, if you're looking to have some fun, go over and check me out on Twitter. My handle is ATM Cold Chills. Handle name E King Gill. For fun. And whenever I'm not doing this, I'm over there roasting sips using quotes from Tombstone. So it's always good fun. Otherwise, if you haven't already, like and subscribe. And we'll see you in a week or two for the next podcast. So thanks and gigging.